Hey everyone, welcome back to the layout. The Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision in HO scale. My name is Daryl Kruse, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for episode 26 of season 2022. Hope everybody's having a great 4th of July weekend. Here in northern Illinois, it's been beautiful. Great weather, nice and dry, not too hot. Going to see if I can maybe catch a parade later today after I post this. But welcome back to the latest update on the railroad. This episode will feature the construction of a flyover over the over the staging yard to go from Evanston to the second level. This took a little bit longer than I thought. I was hoping to get a little bit more done, but I did get the flyover done. Here's what the layout room looks like as you come down the basement stairs. This is the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision. I'm not going to go through the whole layout, but just kind of give you an idea what the overall layout looks like. You had the staging yard there. And we go up the Weber River Valley, Echo Canyon, Castle Rock area. Here we have Wasatch. And then you have the latest addition. A little bit more mainline. About 20 feet, I think. This is a flyover to get from the Evanston Yard to the second level. It's a transition. And you can, if you bend over, you can look and see the entire staging yard. And I left this backdrop here a little bit lower because I'm still thinking of maybe allowing sight of the helix from the layout room. That might be one of the ways. I also put in skirting. So this area looks finished. The whole basement is pretty much looking finished. Here's the passageway into the helix and dispatcher area. I'm going to backtrack here a little bit, kind of just go over briefly the construction. I once again use my homemade compass here to draw the curve out for the flyover. I started out with the curves being like 53 and 54 inches in radius. There's actually 3 tracks here. There are 2 that are close together are the main lines. The third track is the drill track for the Evanston Yard. But I started out with 53 and 55 inches. Turned out that was too big. Did not work. So I had to put that down to 49 and 51 inches. The culprits were these 2 exhaust pipes, which I did not allow for in my CAD drawing. So the larger radius did not work, so I had to cut a little bit sharper radius. This is again 49 and 51 inches for the 2 main lines. So I cut them out of plywood. Had to use 2 pieces. One of the pieces has a 2-foot straight section to it. Actually, I think it's about 22 inches. So to get the exact right length of the curve, I basically overlapped the 2 pieces. And I started out just kind of guessing. Here you can see how the 2 pieces are overlapped. Now this is a lot of just kind of putting it in place and fitting it to the space, basically. Was going to go from the Evanston Yard there. Here's where the Evanston Yard ended. Turned out when I first put it on there, it was a little bit short. I was a little distressed when I saw that. I have a little temporary support there. And then when I put it here, you can see I was a little short. Didn't quite go all the way. I want to extend it a little bit further than that. It was hitting the furnace there, but all I needed to do there was cut that off. But definitely was going to need to remove some of the plywood there so I can push it closer the other way. So here I did it again. This is the second fitting. I took it down and extended it. I unclamped it and extended the curve a little bit further, so now you can see it goes all the way. And then I put a little pencil mark to show where I was going to take out some material. The main lines were a good 3 inches from the edge of the piece of plywood. So here I have it on the floor again, ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and this is what I'm going to use for the length of the curve. So I went ahead and got my circular saw out, blocked it up with a piece of 2x4, and then just cut right straight through it. It was pretty easy, didn't take long. And then the idea is to then splice the two pieces together. Right here we have the two pieces spliced together. I use clamps. I use the glue to hold it together. You can see I used a leftover piece as a splice plate and then splice them together. Use clamps to hold it together after gluing, but I also use some screws, which I removed later. And then I cut out for the exhaust pipes. So this is pretty much the piece that's going to be used. Still need to cut off the corner there, which as you can see, I did take care of that. So it's time to go ahead and see how it all fits together. So I'm going to try and put it in there and see how it looks. I also put in a piece of 2x4 there, as you can see, to support it near the little passageway between the stairwell and the furnace. Now this piece of curve I'm using is 12 inches wide, which is wider than the end of Evanston, but as you'll see a little bit, I'm going to widen that end of Evanston a little bit. So here I went ahead and put it on. I was able to draw a line there. It did extend a little bit over, so I was able to draw a line there, and which will be where it's going to be cut yet. So it'll fit perfectly. And then it fit around also the exhaust pipe and the furnace. So everything worked out pretty good. It kind of looks like it's going to curve into the furnace, but from right here, someplace in the curve here, about right here, it's going to go straight. So even though I have it drawn to curve into the furnace, the tracks will actually go from the curve to straightaway. So it should work out pretty good. All right, then the next step was to add some 1x4s every 12 inches. As you can see, it's already kind of looking a little bit more structurally sound. Again, it was 12 inches between each piece. It's a little bit closer on the inside of the curve. It's 12 inches on the outside of the curve. And then I also built a little ledge here to hold it. And I'm going to transition from having the end scale cork under the road bed to not having the end scale cork. So to compensate for that, I put some end scale cork on the bottom of the lip there that I'm going to be setting that on, and then I'll go ahead and screw it in. The drill track's going to go from having just the road bed to having no road bed. So the drill track on the curve is going to be just right on the plywood. The main lines are going to be HO scale cork road bed with nothing underneath it. All right, so here I have it in place. Once I had it lined up, and it does smoothly go from one section to the other. So I do have it screwed in place. I have 2 screws to attach it to the Evanston Yard area, and then I also have a screw that connects it to the 2x4 that I added there between the furnace and the stairwell. It still looks pretty curvy. That definitely needs to have more structural support. Here you can see how it's definitely not very straight. Here's what I'm using for the structural strength. By screwing the fascia to the curve, you can see how much that straightens it out. So I just screwed it on there, making sure that the fascia was even with the top of the plywood. So you can see where the fascia is attached is very straight. The rest is still curvy, but we'll have to add some more fascia to it. So it's starting to look a little bit better. And then here you can see how I did extend the Evanston Yard area a little bit. And so here we have the fascia added. I did add some additional screws at the very top because it kind of bowed out a little bit. So again, I needed to build this removable, so it's only attached to the layout with 3 screws. 2 screws to attach it to the Evanston Yard. Here you can see I am able to see the helix. This is at eye level. If I go on my tippy toes, I can see the throat. Somebody shorter than me won't be able to do this. This is on my tippy toes. And then you can, if you want to, you can get down and look through there also. I did put a piece to overlap the 2 pieces, so there's 3 pieces. The ones that are attached to the plywood and to the 1x4s, and then I had a 3rd piece go over on top of that to kind of splice it between the 2. Anyway, it did bow out a little bit. Oh, I have another screw right there. You can see it's attached. I did add some more screws to the very top edge of the fascia to kind of take care of the bowing. Hopefully it won't be very visible once I get it painted. You see I kind of knocked over a few cars there. My drill did that. I'm going to have to work on some way to be able to access through there. I have a subwoofer there and a bunch of stuff. I'm going to have to clear that out because the flyover covers the area that I was using for the access point. Here I have some cork roll bed put on. So if I ever do need to remove this at some point in time, it would be a matter of just simply removing the 3 screws, taking off some track pieces in between the pieces, and then we'd have to kind of do some unscrewing of some of the backdrop here. May have to take the backdrop off. There's some wiring attached, which you'll see later. But here you can see how it goes straight then into the next room. So anyway, I will be able to remove this flyover in the situation where I would need the furnace removed at some point in time. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but just in case, I thought it'd be good to make it possible to remove it without too much difficulty. I'm still trying to decide on viewership of the helix. So I might extend this backdrop up all the way. I might leave it like this. Not sure. Here you see the 2 curtains coming together. But the roll bit is all in. You can kind of see how it all fits together. Last part, of course, was putting the track in and then also wiring the track. And then it's going to go into the next room there. And then above the other side of the staging yard. You can see some of the screws I added to take care of some of the bowing. I might put some plaster in between the little gaps there also. Doesn't look too bad though, and it definitely is structurally sound. It's only supported by the attachment at the ends with the 3 screws, and then there's 3 supports underneath it from the staging yard and then up to the flyover. Came out pretty straight. It's a 1% grade up because they have to gain some elevation here. It's actually 2% on the last couple of feet. All right, here's the passageway into the helix and the staging yard area, so you can definitely get access here. I did put the wiring. This had to put it up on the backdrop because I couldn't access it from underneath. But you can see the supports that we have there. The wiring for the common and the 2 detected sections. That's going to go ahead and run into the next room. It's a code, I shouldn't say code, it's 14 gauge wire going all the way into the next room. So I got the flyover done. I was hoping to get it done all the way into the next room this week, but had some things come up during the week that I had to be at, so didn't get a full week of work in. But I'm pretty happy to have the flyover done. Should be pretty easy to get the track into the next room this next week and maybe even get it extended a ways. All right, let's see some trains running. We are at Emory here, going through the control point. Now we're going to go ahead and run up the Wasatch grade and go into Evanston and then onto the brand new main line. We are up over 300 feet of main line now, if you include the staging yard. Actually, if you include the helix, it's over 400, maybe 450, maybe 475 total feet of main line. Altogether, it's going to be 600 feet. But here we just went through the Emory control point and are going past Castle Rock. And we'll go ahead and head upgrade to towards Curvo and then up towards Wasatch. This is a couple of Athearn units. It's an Athearn Gevo ES44. And then it's a SD70. I'm going to patch that, put some yellow sills on it, and patch it for Union Pacific. I'm almost certain that the Union Pacific did not have any SD70s still patched in 2015, which is the era I'm trying to do here. But I just like patched SP locomotives, so I'm going to have one anyway. Also plan on getting the new AC 4400 patched unit that Athearn is coming out with. That won't be for a while though. Here you can see we're coming through the tunnel heading up towards Curvo. Going to put some rail fans here along the track. So the engineer is blowing the horn for the rail fans for safety reasons. And then here we are coming up to Curvo. I don't think I've ever videoed 2 trains crossing at the same time. This is a new view of some pretty cool operations that's going to be taking place on the layout. I have an open house coming up this Saturday. Going to be able to let some people in the Chicagoland area get a chance to see the layout. This will be the first time other people, other modelers, other model train enthusiasts get a chance to see the layout. The only one who's actually been here, other than myself and my wife and my son, is Mark Bridgewater, who was here to help me with the scenery. And then, of course, my family, some people from our congregation. But this will be the first chance some model railroaders will get a chance to take a look at the layout. That's this Saturday. If you are from the area interested in coming to the open house, you email me at dpkruse44@yahoo.com. dpkruse44@yahoo.com. And I'll get you some info about the open house. So here we are coming up the Wasatch Grade. Almost to the Wasatch Summit. This train does have a DP unit at the end, which we'll see here in just a little bit. Get a chance to see the entire train. This is a straight manifest train. And coming up to the control point at Wasatch. Right here you get a chance to see the entire train go by. It's been a while since I've added any rolling stock. I do have some covered hoppers that I pre-ordered through Lombard Hobbies from Intermountain. I think they should be coming pretty soon. It's the, let's see, 5160, I think, cubic foot covered hoppers. Have some scale trains covered hoppers also going to be arriving here pretty soon, that I also pre-ordered through Lombard Hobbies. And only locomotives I have coming in anytime soon is some SD90 Max that should be coming in also, I think, at the end of this month. So haven't had anything new in quite some time, but should be getting in quite a bit here fairly shortly. All right, see if we can get back to the head of the train as it goes downhill now towards Evanston. This will be the entrance into the Evanston Yard, this turnout right there. I was going to try and hold off on doing track laying in the Evanston Yard until I got the whole main line done, but then it occurred to me that I'm going to have to do a couple of these tracks because it's going to be covered up by the second level as it goes through here. So probably will put down a couple of the yard tracks here before I extend the second level. Here you can see how far the second level is going to be extending over. I probably could put the track in later, but probably seems prudent to go ahead and do it first. And there's already a train here waiting for the main line to be done, or done past the flyover, but we'll go ahead and run this train all the way to the flyover. I may keep this window here also as another way of looking at the helix. Still haven't quite decided on how I'm going to do the helix. I probably will ask some of the people at the open house this Saturday, get some input from them on how they would feel about the helix if they were operators. Here's the other entrance into the yard right there on that turnout. And now we come to the transition from the Evanston Yard to the flyover. So the track that the train is on right now is a radius of 51 inches. The inside track is 49 inches. So still very broad for HO scale. Trains definitely look good. And it's doing a 1% incline here, which the train didn't even notice. I am slowing down through the throttle. But then just at about right here, it starts to transition to about 2%. And it'll continue at 2% all the way through that little room there behind the furnace and then on into the layout above the staging yard. Have to get it up to 65 inches before it gets to the Aspen tunnels above Morgan. Thanks so much for watching this update. Hope you have a great 4th of July weekend and have fun with whatever you're got coming up this week. Thanks again for watching. Take care, everybody.